When you're lucky enough to get to hunt a great deer state like Kansas, this is the outcome that you're looking for right here. This is what you envision when you go to Kansas and deer hunt, is smiling with your big buck, getting some pictures taken, getting a little video. But you know, that's really not how it happens for most of us. Now, when you hunt a different state, totally different from your home state, just like team members Paul Matt from Missouri and Stephen Matt from Arkansas, they got into a rude awakening over there because it's not like the terrain that they're used to hunting. So the past 2 years, they go over there hunting in the mindset that they're still in their home states, and it didn't work out for them. So what they had to do, they had to overcome and adapt, and they had to change their ways. So they got to utilizing their trail cams more, and they got to doing more scouting. So today you're going to hear in their own words how they become successful and they stop letting those deer kick them in the rear end, and then they showed them who's boss out there in the great state of Kansas.
I lost him.
Give me my fish.
He fell off.
That thing pulled twice as hard as a silver.
Look at this catfish.
Oh, you got your catch on.
Nice fish. Thank you, fish.
That's what I'm talking about. Get you some of that. The G3 Sportsman is presented by Yamaha, when you want the best.
We're gonna have to start getting our cuttybacks out.
Yeah, we put those cameras out in July last year, didn't we?
Yeah, we started in July, and the activity was extremely heavy during the day, actually, in July and August. In fact, we got cuttyback footage of the 2 deer we finally ended up harvesting.
Tall boy,
Tall boy and wide
boy.
boy. They were running together in July and August. There was a lot of deer working them. And early on, they worked them during the day, and then as this month or 2 went by, they switched into a nighttime thing where almost all the pictures were coming out of the night.
Right.
And I think that's what they do over here. I mean, once it starts getting clear, they go nocturnal on you.
Yeah, all those deer we saw in the summer, well,
we had
wide boy and tall boy, you know.
Yeah, we had those on cuttyback in velvet.
Right, together.
Yeah, running together.
And once it got a little later in the year, they split up and started moving more right at dawn and dusk and during the night as they
And that was
got
what
longer.
was fun, is reviewing those pictures.
It's
Seeing-
as much fun as hunting.
Yeah.
It
Seeing
really is.
what actually is on that camera, moving the camera, keep the camera moving.
There's a fish.
Good.
Well, and when you've got those camera images like that, you can kind of come back. It's just as much fun, I think, as hunting. Go check your cameras and see what's been through there during the night, and then you can share it with each other. And everybody knows what you're talking about when you're out hunting later in the fall and you say, well, I saw wide boy, but he was out about 70 yards during bow season. Everybody knows which deer you're talking about, and that makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, with as much land as there is out here, you got to have those cameras just to focus on what area you need to be working.
Well, and also, eastern Kansas, there's fish in Iowa and Illinois and those places, at least you know that those huge deer out there like Thumper, and it makes you sit in those stands when it's maybe not all that pleasant and windy and cold, but you know that those big bucks are there.
Well, when we went out, I bow hunted it, of course.
Yeah, you bow hunted it
probably
more than
30
I did.
days off and on. I saw a lot of deer. Never had one quite get where I needed it to get the shot. But even when we came over to gun hunt it, those first 2 days were, that first morning and evening and that next morning were pretty slow until it snowed.
Right.
That changed everything.
Oh, there. And this is a bedding area up in there. You can actually see there's a plateau up in there. And then it goes up another level.
Yeah.
But you know, when we weren't even going to shoot a show or anything, we were just going to go look at it, weren't we?
Right.
And it just kind of happened that Eric was with me on that second night
Yeah, I mean,
when Tallboy walked out late, I mean, almost just like those others, right at dusk. I was even surprised he actually could get the light in the camera because I know it was zoomed all the way.
Over here in Coffee County, Kansas. We're sitting in a bean field here. And like I've said before, we've got 12 inches of snow. There's tracks everywhere out here. There's a main bedding area just off to my left here. And I've sat in the stand before, but the deer have come out so late, you can't hardly even see them. But the snow is helping us out, I think, with some light. And at least we'll be able to see them working the edges. So we're just waiting, hoping that maybe some does. There's a lot of track over by this grassy knoll over here. We're hoping those does will come out there, try to feed on these beans. Kansas is a great place to hunt, but it's totally different than other places I've been. Just when you think you got these deer figured out, we were hunting the timber with bows, and I tell you, we saw deer, but we didn't get them close enough. But they run these ditches, and we've got a lot of deer on the cutty back cameras, good deer, and so we know they're in the area. But man, I mean, they're tough to see because they didn't get big by just being stupid. So we're just going to sit here. We're going to kind of wait, keep our eyes open, and hope that Mr. Big comes on out before it gets dark. Does. Oh, does. I know that guy's back there. No, he's standing right back in that timber. Doe's been out there for a while now. It's getting later. I hope he doesn't wait much longer. There's another deer in there. I see him. I see legs. Yeah, that is a buck. It's a buck, he's a shitter. The does are out ahead of him. I'm gonna wait, he's coming in, I got some time. I'm gonna have to turn this down because I'm losing light. He's a buck, he's a shooter. You're gonna stop him. You know, he's down right there. I can see him, but we're going to wait. We're going to wait about 20 minutes. It's going to get dark, but he's not going anywhere, and we're going to wait to make sure.
Well, I've been out here about 30 days bow hunting in Kansas and Coffee County, and it's been tough, but we switched to guns 3 days ago, and we hadn't seen that much. But then it snowed As you can tell, 10 to 12 inches last night. So we came out tonight, and I was lucky enough to get this guy to walk out just before it got dark, and I made a good shot at about 100 yards. So I've really enjoyed the time over here from the G3 Sportsman, this Coffee County, Kansas. It's all good.
When I went out the next morning, I was just going to scout a little bit and try and get up really high and see if I could figure out, you know, what I was doing wrong, because I was mostly seeing just does and smaller bucks, and
Right.
went up on top of that hill and sat there in that snow and watched, and those deer just started popping up.
Yeah.
Like pop-up targets in that prairie grass. You know, you couldn't see them when they were laying down at all.
It's like the old trap door thing, isn't it?
Yeah, couldn't see them when they were laying down at all, and one at a time they started popping up, and then that, you know, that good buck popped up, and I knew it was, like I said, a long shot, but I knew I could shoot him because I had such a good rest. Deer's bedded down right there and laying down right behind that hay bale. I've come to the highest place I can find on the property, where I can see 300 to 1,000 yards in almost every direction, to try and figure out where these big bucks spend the dead of the winter on this property, because I'm at a loss. I'm just stumped. So I'm going to sit here, see what I can learn for next season, and just glass everything to try and figure out where the big bucks are bedded down.
Okay, our tip of the week is brought to you by Bear Trailers, makers of Trail Guard. Get space savings and security with Bear Trailers. Bear Trailers are behind you all the way.
Hi, I'm Paul Matt with G3 Sportsman. You know, there's a lot of great trail cams out there today on the market, and the new digital era really makes it easy to use. Now, one thing I do is when I've got a camera out here and it's been out here for a while, instead of lugging the camera out or bringing a computer in, what I'll do is I'll purchase an extra 1 gig card. These have gotten down to maybe $25 a piece. If you keep one in your pocket, all you have to do is turn your unit off, pull the card out, and replace it with this new card. Kick it back on and she's ready to roll again. You know, by having these 2 digital cards, it's really easy to change this out and you have no downtime on your camera. So let's go check this out and see if there's anything on it.
Nothing in the ditch. There's a deer. It's a doe. One doe. She just stood up right out there in that grass. Yeah. She's not doing anything, just standing there, feeding a little bit. Okay, there's another doe. 1, 2, about 400 yards away in the grass. There's another doe, another one. There's 1, 2, 3, just stood up in the grass. They're in the grass. They've been hunting the timber, the ditches, the fields, and they've been bedded down in the grass the whole time. There's another deer. That's a buck. That's a pretty decent buck. 1, 2, 3, and a buck. Can't tell how big he is. Exactly, he's pretty wide. The does are over there. He's pretty wide. At least 6, 8 point, probably 8 point. I'm gonna see where he goes. If he gets over, he'll have to come quite a bit closer. He's at least 400 yards.
Just remember we went over the 1100
Yeah, and filmed that before we had permission to hunt that property.
And we
had
over there
permission
scouting?
to scout it, but not to actually hunt it until this year. We went over there and
I was glad we had a camera.
filmed that bruiser chasing
Even though
those little satellite
sure.
bucks off.
The footage was probably a little shaky, but that's the first time I'd actually been able to watch that process. And still be careful. We try to get closer, but we had to be careful not to interrupt the whole process
Right.
with that one
He was,
bruiser, keeping those other 3 and 4 smaller bucks away from that doe, especially when she went and hid herself behind that hay bale.
yeah, just she was tired. He was tired.
Well, I don't know how long that had been going on, but we filmed it for what?
Probably we watched it for at least 10 minutes.
It was
From the time we first saw him way out there at like 300 yards
yeah,
and got,
and then we kept sneaking in on
Sneaking
closer and
closer.
closer.
then that doe ran right by the truck,
Yep.
turned around and went back. That's funny stuff.
Yeah, it's the kind of stuff you really don't ever get to see very often.
He's gonna cross that fence right where she did. And that's about 319 yards, so I'm gonna get ready to take this shot. I have to get step out right there. Hit, he's down. He's down. He's back up. Now he's down. Now he's down. Nice. Nice. Whew. A lot of guys see deer at 200 and 300 yards and don't realize that with the right equipment you can take those kind of shots. Like I said, that deer, I ranged a little tree where he was going to walk through. It was about 319 yards where he walked through, or the tree that I ranged rather. And the thing is, if you have good equipment, a good rifle, good scope, and good equipment, then you can make a 300-yard shot. A lot of guys think they can't, and you don't want to just go throwing bullets down range. But if you're solid, and the most important thing is the rest. That's why I drop down into the prone position, and that's why I keep a bipod on this rifle. I used to be a police sniper. Back when I was a police sniper, I learned the value of a bipod is just crucial to getting that rifle locked down solid. And once it's solid, those crosshairs aren't moving. And if you know your rifle and you know the ballistics of what that bullet's going to do at 300 yards, you can take a 300-yard shot and be fairly confident with it. I'm going to go over and get my buck. Well, he's not a monster buck, but I learned so much on this trip about hunting in Kansas. It's really been tough for me the last couple of years trying to figure things out. And like I said, I came out this morning and just my entire goal was to learn more for next year. And my season was almost over. He's not quite as big as I thought he was when I shot him, but he's got 4 on one side with a kicker and 3 on the other, and he's pretty wide. What I saw at 300 yards was wide. So I decided to go ahead and harvest him. He's a nice mature whitetail, huge body. And yeah, the lessons that I learned this time to me are more valuable than taking a big buck.
More fun moments last year is after we got done and we had both killed our deer. I walked up on the 430 up on the north side of it just to look in the snow because it was just beautiful up there. And I came across this carcass of this deer that had been killed, probably, I'm sure, off property, and it ran on property, and the coyotes had pretty well used it up. So I decided, just for fun, there's fish. Oops, lost it. Just for fun, I would drag it out, and Eric and I would cut a little funny piece. And it worked out pretty good. Called it the Sitco Willie Goes Hunting piece. I loved it.
Whew. This Kansas hunting is tough. I was up here 10 miles. Started out with him last night. The coyotes came. I had to fight them off. I mean, look at this. But I got him. He's nice, ain't he? Yeah. They got the rest. Oh well. Saved me from having to clean him.